Hey, what's up, everyone? Sorry for the late log on here. I had to go and take the router, and I've got it up in a tree, bungee corded up into a tree real high because the signal is really bad right now. We've got a crazy windstorm going on. So right before I logged on, I was getting ready to log on, like right at 11:30, and the internet just tanked. I thought, oh crap! So I couldn't get on with the internet being real bad. I don't know. Hopefully, it's better. It seemed like when I did the speed test, it was a little bit better. So. Um, but we got Sierra here with us. She's doing great. What's up, Pumpkin? What are you doing, little baby girl? What you doing? Oh, you just been so much fun lately. She's just been a blast lately. She's obviously you can tell she's feeling great. And we haven't started chemo yet. The reason why is I wanted one more week with her feeling good, and she's just been feeling so awesome that I wanted her to continue feeling good for one more week before we started the chemo. So we didn't start chemo last week. We're gonna start this week. And but she's doing great. I mean, as you can tell, we get up every morning. If you saw the video that I put up, just the recent upload, I put it up, and like every morning we get up, and she goes for a walk with me. We'll go around the whole property, and then we'll go over to like the rock garden that we have. If you saw the end of the video where I did the Patreon shout out, that whole rock garden area is where we go walk through every day. So we've already done 2 walks through there this morning. Family baby girl, and got the wood stove been going. That's been going pretty good. The black welding blankets showed up. Those are 1800 Fahrenheit, and then the yellow ones are 1000 Fahrenheit. So I've got it double layered. So literally, like if I touch the door behind the welding cloth there, it's not even it's like cool to the touch, so we don't have to worry about any heat coming in there. So it's all good. So let me see what's up with the comments here real quick. I want to say hi to everybody. I'm gonna go back up to the tar. So Lena Hart always brings a smile to my face to see Sierra. Oh, cool. Kato, she looks great. Yeah, Joni had for both of you. Cool. Dessa Love, happy Brian Sierra girl. All right, hello everyone. All right, cool. Yeah, we got lots of good people tuning in. All right, so let's see. See Jackie, how's Sierra doing? How you, Brian Sierra from Washington State? How about howdy back at you, Peter? What's up, dude? I got an email. I got your emails. I got to respond to you, buddy. Annie D, hey, how's it going? How are things in New York City? Hope y'all are doing well. For Sierra's treatments, thank you very much. So I'll keep everybody informed with when we're going to start that up. So I should be here soon, I would think. I just got to call him tomorrow and then see. But I just wanted like one more week with her feeling well, and she's been so much fun. Like in the morning, we wake up about 5 a.m. and I'll wake up early, and then she wakes up after me, and I'll get up and I'll start to like rouse around a little bit, and she'll like stretch and like lean up against me, and like she'll get up like, I know you're okay. she'll get up like that. And then she'll like roll over against me, which is a lot of fun. So she's been doing great, and like I can just tell that with all those tumors out of her belly, she feels so much better, and she's got her old self back. She's all running around having fun, just being goofy as all get out, and it's awesome. So it's really nice to see, because I was concerned that, I mean, I was concerned after surgery that she'd just be going downhill again after it, but it's not the case. She's doing great. And I want to get the imaging done for her chest one more time, because they said they just have like one little tiny speck in there where they think it's cancer, but they're not sure. And 2 years ago, we were out winter camping in this one area, and I threw this bone for Sierra to go get, and she got it, and I saw a little piece of the bone got nicked off, and she started coughing like crazy. And I'm wondering if that ever got lodged in her lung. If so, that could be what that is. And if I just want to make sure that she has to go through chemo is basically what I'm saying, because I don't want to make her go through a bunch of torture if she doesn't have to do it. Now, the doctors did say that with the cancer that was in her bum, they didn't get all of it, so there's still little microscopic cells, kind of like scattered throughout. That wasn't all the way completely taken out of. All the stuff that was in her lymph nodes, that's all gone. So that's great. But the stuff in her rear, they said there might be a possibility for a tumor to grow again, and if so, it wouldn't be for another like 3 or 4 years if it did happen. But it's something just to keep an eye on with her. But if that happens again with the tumor in the rear, you just take it out again. So it's no big deal. I know, baby girl. And it's just amazing how how much better she's feeling. Once she had the surgery to get those tumors removed, because I mean, before she'd lay around all day long, and her eyes were constantly running, like it was like her eyes were almost like she was crying, and so she's just doing a lot better. So let's see. All right, let's see here. Let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and take this Mr. Jackson guy and put him in timeout. I don't understand people that get on here and just are losers. So, but yeah, I'm really stoked about Sierra doing great, and it's just so nice to have her feeling good and in good spirits and wanting to go on walks and stuff like that. Because I'd ask her like, hey, you want to go on a walk? And she wouldn't. She just would not want to do it. So, but hey, Simple Trailer Overland, what's up, dude? Yeah, I'm doing all right. I've still been dealing a lot of stuff with that autoimmune stuff and just trying to figure out the best way to eat. I've got it down to like where I literally eat like 4 foods and that's it. It seems to be helping out, but it's just a slow go to get feeling better. And I'm ready to feel better. I'm pretty tired of not feeling 100%, but it's all good. So, oh, thanks for saying that I look better. I'm feeling a little bit better. Let's see, Meryl. Oh, hey, Meryl, I didn't see you up there. How's it going? You both look better. Thank you so much. I have, I mean, I feel like I'm gaining weight back. I'm getting my strength back, stuff like that. But I'm still just really tired. And I think what it is that the foods that I'm eating, I just can't eat a whole lot of different variety of stuff, and so I'm kind of stuck with just these basic foods right now because I did doing like the food maps thing, to where you eliminate all the foods and just have stuff that can agree with you, and it works. But it's just like you don't get a whole lot of energy from it, and so got to figure out what I can maybe add to my diet to that won't screw up my stomach, but will help me out going forward. So, but the stove here, I wanted to mention something about this stove. So I was really stoked about it because I like the glass front here on the stove, and it's really nice to see like the fire at night and all that stuff, and you can kind of look over from like my bed is right there, so I can look over and I can look into this and see how the stove is going, and the vent on the bottom works fine, all that stuff. There's 2 complaints that I have though, and it has to relate to backdraft coming back into the structure here or like your tent. Number 1, there is no welding rope around this seal. Okay, now what welding rope does, it's like welding cloth, but it's just made into rope. You take a rope and you put it all the way around here like this, and that way when you close this, it creates a not an airtight seal, but a pretty much an airtight seal when you close it, and then that way this controls it 100%. When you in a perfect world, if they have the seam on this done right, when you close this, it'll make your stove go off. When I close this now, the stove still goes because there's like a little gap here. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's the gap in between the stove front here and the stove box itself. So you get a little bit of backdraft coming up from that, and also too, you can't control the heat the way you want to. The other thing that I do not like about this stove is that in the back here, let's see, can you see it? No, you can't see it from here. In the back here, you can see it though. So let me flip it around. Okay. Major design flaw here. Major design flaw. This. If you see where if you see where the smoke comes out, there's like an inch above here. Okay, it's still in the stove. That the smoke basically just sits in the top. So when you open up the front of your stove, all that smoke escapes out of the front. It doesn't go out of the back here. And so even when you got your stove going really hot, when you open up the front of it, because this is lower than the top of the stove box here, you'll get backdraft coming out the front because there's a gap in the top here where the smoke is settling. And that's a really bad design because you'll always have backdraft whenever you open it, no matter how much your stove is raging. So what happens is even though there's like this portion right here, the stove intake is a little bit underneath that. It's maybe like another 1/8 of an inch. And so you've got this back, you've constantly got backdraft. And what'll happen is the smoke will go for the easiest way to get out. Like, if it's really hot in here, obviously the physics is pulling the smoke through and up to the smokestack and to the chimney and stuff like that. But if your stove is just going, and if you have a little bit of downdraft coming from like a really good wind, you're going to get all that smoke back into your camper or your tent. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're looking for stoves. Get one that always has the exhaust on the top. Don't get one that has the exhaust coming out the back or the side or anything like that, because that's just a really crappy design. This is a Chinese design. I got it from Lux Hiking Gear. It's the Wild West stove. Don't get them. There's a Wild West backpacking stove, which is fine because it has the exhaust on the top. But any of those exhaust out of the back, just pass on those. And people will say like, oh, you have more cooking area on top. It doesn't matter. I mean, like if your whole structure is filled up with smoke, and every time you open the front of your stove to load it, you get smoke in there, and then you have to vent your entire structure. It's just a pain in the rear. So just a heads up. That's something you want to keep in mind. So let's go back over here. Oh, I made some coffee, so let me grab that real quick. I figured out that what I want to do next here, I've got the camper obviously ready to go for winter, and I'm going to switch out that stove. I've got a stove coming from Kaneko. It's the Trekker stove. That's the one I used in my awning drop down room 2 springs ago when I did that stove in the awning drop down room for my truck. And so it's a great stove. I mean, it works well. Hang on, so one I just hit here. It works well, and it doesn't have any exhaust issues like this one. And it's a little bit smaller, which is good because this stove right here that's a little big for being inside of a camper, because in here it's insulated real well, and so like I don't have to run the stove very much. I have to basically wait till it gets below freezing, and then I can start the stove. But one thing I wanted to mention though is that let's see, I got some comments here. Let's see. Chris, that's cool. You're out walking your box with Lucy. That's cool, man. Right on, Montana. Montana. Hope everything's going good there, brother. All right, let's see here. What else have we got? Okay, cool. Okay, I'm all caught up with those. See, Sandy, can I drink protein shakes? Unfortunately, I can't. That's the thing. Protein shakes wreck my stomach. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to eat lots of foods that have high protein in them. Like, for example, asparagus has the highest amount of protein for any vegetable. Doing pork tenderloin and then also chicken, and just doing it to where it's not really marinated, which is kind of not very tasteful, but it's easy to prepare, and it's pretty flexible what you can cook it with. And then pairing that with like sweet potatoes. So like for breakfast, I'll do like 4 eggs for breakfast, and then do a big bowl of strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries, and sometimes bananas if I have them, but I always have strawberries and blueberries. So definitely those. And then I'll do a granola with low sugar, because sugar wrecks my stomach. So low sugar granola with like some berries in it for a snack. And then for lunch, I'll usually do like a wrap, like a chicken wrap. And then for dinner, do like, pork tenderloin with the vegetables and sweet potato. So I've been doing that now for a couple of weeks, and I feel like I'm gaining, my strength back and stuff like that, but it's just taking a while. But what I want to do is I want to get my strength up for wintertime, because, winter camping, it's way different than being in this camper, because the camper is so easy to like live in and relax in. And, when the weather's gnarly, you just kind of just chill out in here. And the wind has been like 50 miles an hour the past couple of days. And so, if I was in the tent, that is horrendous conditions, and you're just working your butt off the whole time to maintain it. And here, I mean, it's easy street, it's like Sierra's taking naps. I'm sitting here watching college football and NFL, and then checking out other YouTube channels and stuff like that. I don't know if you caught Baron and Elsa's live stream. I think it's still going on. They were doing the live stream with Alexis Outdoors, and then her boyfriend, I can't remember. They've got a timber company that they're doing a channel on, which is pretty cool. But Alexis Outdoors, she does awesome bushcraft stuff by herself in the winter, which is really cool. So if you're not following her, definitely check her out. So let's see. Let me get back to some of the comments here. Hey, Danya and Priya, thanks for tuning in. Cindy Conway, George Kendrick, how about beans or something related? Hummus. Yeah, so Brett, I can do hummus. And I do hummus with like, I'll take like bell peppers and cut them up and dip them in there. So that's pretty good. But I can't do like cereals, can't do crackers, can't do cookies. I mean, I can do cookies, but I just pay for it. And so it's probably, it's getting better. It's like everything's hitting me a little less hard than it used to, but I still get hit hard by it, which kind of sucks. So James, you're asking about vegetable juice. I've not tried vegetable juice. The thing about it is I have to stay away from any sort of red juice or tomato juice, because that really, really gets me. I had tomato soup, and I didn't know that was one of the ones that really wrecks your stomach. And boy, I tell you, like for 2 days, I was like doubled over in pain, because what happens is the irritable bowel syndrome, for those who don't know what that is basically just swelling of your intestines. And so like what happens on mine is I've got 2 different sections in my large intestine, the middle part and the lower part, that swell up real bad. And then, you're just out of commission when that happens. You can't do anything. And you can feel it. Like my waist size will go from a 32 to a 36 when that happens. And I thought initially, like when I first got misdiagnosed and they said it was celiac, I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because every time I would eat something, I would see my stomach kind of like get bigger in those areas. I was like, oh, I can see the reaction happening, but that's actually the irritable bowel thing. So I've just found that like any sort of red sauce, red soups, anything with tomatoes in it just kills me. So I have to like watch it with salsas and things like that. I can do like green salsas and things like that, but nothing red. And so pizza's out of it. I can do like a white pizza, if there's Alfredo sauce, but can't do anything other than that. So one thing that is nice though, like goat's milk really helps. So I've been pounding goat's milk, which is awesome. And Sierra, I've been giving her a bunch of that too, so she loves it. All right, let's see here. Oh, let's see. Buena tarde. I guess. Oh, cool. Maria, I'm not very fluent. I was 3 hours away from having a minor in Spanish in college, but I think you were saying like, hey, you're tuning in late, but you like the videos and all that stuff. So cool. From Veracruz, Mexico. That's awesome. Gosh, I love Mexico. We used to go down to, let's see, what was that? Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of that place. There's this place that was down in Southern California. It was in Baja, Mexico, and we'd roll down there, and it was like all these homes you could rent on the beach, and you had your own private surf break out front, and it was awesome. So it's like 2 hours from San Diego. Roll down there, and the waves are just incredible. I love Mexico. So, all right, Mr. Jackson Bridges. Yeah, scrambled eggs. Yeah, I scrambled eggs. Actually, that's kind of what I eat all the time, to be honest with you. And so, so that's definitely a good one. I can't do peanut butter though. That kills me. Any sort of sugars and stuff like that kills me. So it's not possible. But hey, I want to show you all. So what I want to do, a lot of people were saying with the stove here, they're like, hey, why don't you pull it out and put it in a little bit better area? The reason why is because this is temporary at the moment. And this is also a real easy way to set stuff up. I mean, these are just welding blankets that are basically layered to where underneath here it doesn't get hot. But what I want to do is I want to knock all of this out and make a huge seating area. Because if you look at it this way from over here, let's see. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. You can kind of see how big of an area that is. But essentially, what I could have when I come in here, I could have like an L-shaped bench seat that comes over to here, and then have like a shelf that goes up, and then have the other stove that I want to have back in there. And I'm going to rip out the electrical and redo that, because this area here, I mean, like this is huge for just a stove and a sink top. I mean, huge area. It's a waste of space. And I can make like a real nice area for seating. So when you came in, you could have a seating area here, and then I can have an area over there with the stovepipe going up. And in the wintertime, switch out the stove, and then in the summertime, take it out, and then still have my bed over here and all that stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll probably wait till the start of next season, like in the spring to do it, because I don't want to do it this winter. Because temps are pretty nice. I mean, it's like 70 during the day, and then at night it's like down to like 30. But it's going to start getting cold soon. And we did have a cold bump last week. That storm that hit on Monday, it hit during the nighttime. I woke up at like 11 o'clock, and it was snowing out. And so I got all excited. I got all excited and stayed up till like 3 and just watched the snow. But I have my GoPro right now, and let me do this. I'm gonna guess what's here. I have my GoPro right now, and my Canon charger for the battery is in my truck. So, hey, funny story. The reason why I'm wearing these socks is because I was getting ready to get on do a live stream, and I noticed my feet were dirty. So I got these socks that were in Lake City, and look at it. It says "reasonably good guy." Isn't that funny? So they got all these funny socks in this one store in Lake City. But let's see here. So George, let's see for. Thanks, Elsa. Yeah, I got a bunch of other ones too that are like they're all like funny, kind of smart assy socks, but I thought these were good. I ended up getting like 5 pair of like different socks, which I think were pretty fun. But back to the camper here though, it's like I could easily make a bench seat over there and have the Dometic fridge slide underneath it, and then have it on deals where it could just slide out, and I make that pretty simple. And so that way I wouldn't lose the storage underneath, and like have my water under down underneath there and stuff like that. But I was thinking like, the bench seat would go like, across from there over to here. And then I could put like a cooking area over here, like a little area with a sink and a stove and all that stuff. And then still have this huge bed to chill in and everything, which would be real nice. But I can tell you, I mean, I'm frustrated with I haven't told you all what happened to my truck. So I got the update from the mechanic, and what happened is one of my cylinders broke inside there. The header broke off and was banging around and just caused all this internal damage, completely knocked out the compression. The head gasket blew again, and basically trashed the entire engine. And so I've got another engine on order this time. Instead of using instead of like recycling the water pump and recycling the fuel pump and all those different things, I'm getting brand new everything. Like I'm not messing around with this. This is going to be the 3rd engine in 4 years. And I'm a little frustrated with this. It's with Jasper. So if this one doesn't take, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be upset. But I'm just I'm kind of frustrated with it because, like, with COVID, with all the shipping stuff that's going on, and it's hard to get supplies and hard to get machine parts and stuff like that. Like, they're telling me, they're like, hey, it could be like a month till we get your engine in, and then they're like, and once we get it in, it's like, they're like, once we get it in, we're probably gonna be 3 or 4 weeks out. So we're like 2 months out from getting your truck back to you, like best case scenario. So I'm really, really, really kind of frustrated because I don't know, man. It's just like, it seems like it's one thing after another this year. It's like my health, and then Sierra's health, and then the truck, and then all the drama with the ranch, and it's just like, it's kind of hard. I don't like to talk about it because I feel like a broken record talking about just like, oh, you know, um, you know, like, I don't want to sound like a negative individual by talking about bad stuff, but it's like these things just keep happening time and time again, and I'm pretty frustrated with it. And so it's been nice just to like chill here and just like not be in the public domain during this time, and just relax and kind of, chill with Sierra. I mean, like, we just sit around here all day long. I haven't been in town since, gosh, what is it today? Is it Sunday? Since like last Monday or something like that. And I'm not planning to go into town until tomorrow or the next day. So I'm thinking about, what I'm thinking about doing is, so I don't have the money right now to buy the UTV that I want. Like, I want to buy a Ranger, but I want to have all the bells and whistles that I want. And it's going to be an investment, so I've got to save up for it. So what I've been thinking about doing is picking up a 4-wheeler in the meantime, just to help me with stuff around the ranch here. And the cool thing about Arizona is that a lot of the 4-wheelers out here are street legal, and so you can get tags for them and drive them into town. So my buddy Chad, he's got an extra ranch truck that like I could use to take big trips into like Flagstaff or Prescott. But then if I wanted to run into the town nearest to here, like, I could do that on the back roads and the 4x4 trails, and I could do that on a big old 4-wheeler. So I've been looking at like either the Honda Sportsman or the Yamaha Grizzly. And so, oh, Ray, no, Jasper won't cover it. Let me pin this real quick. This is a good question to ask. That's one thing about Jasper. The reason why I went with him the first time was that, pin message is that I like the fact that Jasper, they've got a good reputation. So I don't know if I just have bad luck or if I'm cursed or what, but they when my first engine blew, it was because the guy put it in wrong. And so Jasper was cool about it. And they're like, we'll hook you up with a new engine and we'll pay for the labor. So that's what happened. I had that engine for like 45,000 miles, the second one, and then this blew. And I'm hard on engines. I mean, like, I'm on 4x4 trails all the time. All my tires are constantly aired down, all that stuff. And so the unfortunate thing about this one is that literally I was 2 months out of warranty with Jasper, and had it been 2 months earlier that it blew, that they would have paid for everything again, even the labor. But I was 2 months out of it, so it's costing me $9,200, which is crazy because everything's so much more expensive right now, and I'm replacing all those ancillary parts too that go on, that you put on the engine after you get the whole engine built. So I'm just frustrated with that. That's frustrating because, like, I almost had enough saved up for the UTV, but then I'm like, well, 9,200 of it's going, to this, and then rental cars and everything else. It's just been a shit show. So I've been pretty frustrated with it as of late. But now, so unfortunately, Ray, I did not get that. That wasn't under warranty. So, all right, let's see here. So I just got slap you in here in the camper. Look, thank you. Yeah, she's looking awesome. She just bounced right back, didn't you, baby pumpkin? Yeah, you did. You just got feeling so much better right away. And she's back to like her energetic self and just being, super interactive and fun and everything like that. And I'm doing better. It's just slow going, for me to get back to 100%. But I'll get there. And I think this winter, what I would like to do out here is I've got all that wood that I got from Bridget and Reese, and all those different construction supplies. And it'd just be cool to build a little studio where I could work out, and go in the morning and stretch and just kind of just make sure I'm feeling good. So I'm definitely going to probably do something like that here soon and get that built. I probably won't build it like super awesome. I'll probably just build it, temporary, and then come back in the time after that and redo it. Because I would like to use some of the rocks on the property to build some stone houses and stuff like that. So, all right, let's see what else have we got here. Let's see more. Yeah, that's true. So life a la carte. That's about one thing. That's one thing that I really am thankful for. You know, when I'm going through these frustrating times, like I do think about it. I'm like, well, at least I'm not in the corporate environment right now. Because if I had to deal with like some jerk boss, and I was fortunate in life. I had pretty good. I worked for some pretty good people. My first job out of college was I worked with this guy Andy Brown. He's a real nice guy, and we stay in touch. Actually, he messaged me when I was in Denver with Sierra, and we're gonna probably try to get together next time. And I'm in the Denver area, but I mean, I worked with great people and stuff like that, so I can't really say like I'd have bad bosses. I did have a few bosses towards the end that were kind of screwy, but they were California people. So I mean, I don't mean to talk shit on California people, but Southern California people just watch to the beat of a different drum if they're wrapped up in like the money environment and money lifestyle. And so it's just nice being out of that because I'm like, man, I'm frustrated right now. I can't imagine how frustrated I'd be being in the corporate environment and add to it all the stuff with COVID and everything. And it's just crazy. Is the stuff with COVID. I don't know if y'all noticed in the most recent video, I put that stuff in from Joe Rogan. And the reason why is because I feel like he's talking about a lot of stuff that nobody else is really talking about right now because he's not beholden to YouTube, so he can say whatever he wants. And then the clips that get put up there, they're not monetized. And so, he doesn't worry about it. So he's kind of really going back against people now, like up against CNN and YouTube and other people that are censoring because it's just crazy. Like the stifling of conversation. I just never thought that would take place. And now we're seeing stuff like these COVID passports and I don't know. I mean, that's some scary stuff. I never thought I'd live in a country that would be doing that over a virus. So, but let's see. Yeah, so Rogan Unleashed is the best one. Yeah, I just love the fact when Rogan starts going off, and it's kind of nice. He's been having on a lot of people that have been kind of kicked to the curb by mainstream media, and it's like what it is. I look at mainstream media, and I'm like, they're just jealous of the fact that other people are out there kicking their ass in traffic. It's like you look at like CNN or Fox or any of them, and then you go to like these YouTube channels like Breaking Points or something like that, and it's like stack up the traffic. Like they're like these independent people are killing mainstream media because they've shot themselves in the foot by lying to us for so long. Like they can't continue to sit there and lie and lie and lie and lie and then tell like one truth and expect us to believe that one truth. It's like after a while you're like, no, it's all bullshit. And that's what I came to. I came to that realization like when I was 35, so I'm 46 now, so that was 11 years ago. When I was 35, I kind of gone through a lot of stuff by that point, and I had gone through. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but I had a benzodiazepine addiction when I was in the corporate world, and so it was lots of stress and lots of crap that I went through. But then I came out the other side, and I felt like I had a clearer picture of life. And it's like I looked at it, and I'm like, this whole system's set up just to control people. It's like they want to put you in a 30-year mortgage, because you got to keep working, and they want to make sure that your job pays you just enough to keep you going, but not enough to where you can actually be independent. And then they want to take up all of your time, like all of your time. And I can't imagine, like, I look back on my life and it's like I spent 19 years, or let's see, 17 years in the corporate world and dealing with corporate stuff. And it's like, I don't want anything to do with that again. I got so soured by that, and it's like, I think that unfortunately, these companies have done it to themselves because it's like, you know, a company could be cool, and there are companies out there that are cool that like treat their employees well and pay them good, but they're typically small businesses. It's not these big businesses. And it's like who got shut down during COVID? It was like all the small businesses. So a lot of those opportunities went away. And you see the big ones like Amazon and Walmart, they don't even pay their people enough money to live. It's like those companies get caught up by the government. It's just so crazy. And so I just don't know. I look at that, and that's when I like separated from the credit system. So and when in 2000. Actually, no, that was a long time. It wasn't back in 2007. So in 2007, that was 14 years ago. The recession was happening in Southern California, and the bailout money that Wells Fargo got, they bought Wachovia, but then I had like a $10,000 loan with them, and they're like, yeah, you need to you better keep paying the loan, or they sent some weird letter like saying like you can't get behind on your bills, and this recession was coming on stuff. It's like they knew it was coming, and we all of course know why. It was all cooked, and I went in there one day and I'm like, y'all just bought Wachovia with our taxpayer money. And they're like, and the store managers, they're all like thinking they're hot shit and everything. And yeah, this, that. And I'm like, well, I'm pulling my accounts from you and you can take that loan and shove it. I'm not paying you on it. They're like, oh, we're going to go after your credit. I'm like, well, then I just won't use credit anymore. And so that's what I did. I actually bucked the credit system and just said, I'm going to do everything with cash from here on out. And it was tough initially because, you're kind of used to credit. Like you have a credit card, charge stuff up, pay it off, all that stuff. And then when you're totally relying on cash, it completely changes the way you look at your spending habits. And I'm glad that I did that, because now it's like I live completely beneath my means, 100%. I don't ever spend more than I have. And I'm glad that I went through all those trying times, because it's like I pulled my credit score, or like tried to pull one on it, and it says that I don't exist anymore. And I'm like, that's awesome. I was like, it says not enough information for a credit score. So I was like, that's what I want, you know? And it was funny. I went into AT&T, and, you know, when I got the phone for Sierra, I was like, well, I'll just do the pay as you go plan. And they're like, well, we can get you on these other plans, and they got all these features and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, but you got to check credit, you know? And I'm like, I don't want to do credit. I don't want to be tied into a contract. I'm like, I just want to pay as you go. And once Sierra's feeling better, I'm going to cancel my phone again. And they're like, and like one guy kind of made a comment. He's like, yeah, some people have had trouble in the past. They don't want to do credit either. I'm like, no, that's not the case. I'm like, I don't use credit. I'm like, you can pull a score. I don't exist. I was like, so it's not the fact that I don't have the money. As a matter of fact, I've got plenty of money. I was like, I don't need to put it on credit. You know, I was like, I'll pay as you go, and I'll prepay, and we're good. And they're like, well, eventually they're going to get rid of that plan. I'm like, of course, because everybody wants to have that reoccurring revenue, just like the pharmaceutical companies. They want to have that, you know, booster every other 6 months to keep that revenue rolling in. And I looked at that system as a whole, like every industry, whether it's housing or medicine or whatever. And I'm like, or banking, especially banking. I'm like, this is all set up just to extract money out of us. And then I was like, you know, when I go in the backcountry, it's like totally different. You know, mindset changes. You don't think about buying stuff. You're not like in there distracted in these city environments, to where, you know, the shiny things are distracting your attention. It's like you're out in nature and you're by yourself. And it's like I started noticing. I was like, that was the mindset and the thought process that I wanted to be in. It wasn't the compare and compete consumerism mindset that I used to be in, because I was just in that. You know, I mean, like when you're in Southern California and you got a good job and you're doing well, you know, you and your friends, you kind of try to outdo each other with money stuff. And it's just, that's a fool's game. I mean, nobody, it's just dumb, you know? And so like, I look back on my former self when I was in the corporate world, I'm like, oh man, I wasted so much money that I spent time earning. So I wasted my time, you know, just spending money on stupid stuff. And now it's like, everything's bought with intent. You know, I try to recycle a lot of stuff that I have. I go through and sew up my old shirts and everything like that. And that's why my clothes look kind of janky sometimes, but I don't care. But I don't know. It's just like, I look at everything now and I'm like, I think if I was in the city, the first thing I would want to do is try to get out, because I feel like that is where the first place that they're really kind of tightening the vice on everyone. And when I'm out here, you know, granted, I don't have any infrastructure or anything, so I have no support really other than my friends and everything like that, which is all the support that I really need, honestly. But when I'm out here, it's nice. It's like you just don't feel that oppressive thumb. You know, you're not on 35 security cameras throughout the day. You know, stuff like that. It's like little stuff like that. I don't know why, it just bothers me. You know, and so being out here, just having the freedom to walk around and there's no prying eyes or anything like that. It's just, I can tell you, for me, it does wonders for my psyche. I can go into town and I can feel the pressure. I can feel the boiling points, like, you know, the mask, no mask, are you vaxxed, are you not vaxxed, all that crap. Then I come out here and it's like a huge sigh of relief. And so, you know, if anybody's having a tough time in the city, what I would say is, you know, the jobs out there that are in the city right now, I don't know, they don't pay that great, you know? And so that's why I think we're seeing a lot of people resigning and all these workers revolt, you know? So if you come out here in the backcountry, you know, you do need to have an income. I wouldn't recommend coming out here with not having income, but you know, you can do things online nowadays. There's lots more things. Also too, when you're back here, you don't spend the same amount of money that you do when you're in a city. Because when you're in a city, it's like, there's ways to spend money everywhere. And when you're out here, there's no way to spend money. The only way you can spend money is if you're online, and you buy something, you know? So you're not going around and like going into the coffee shop and getting a $20 breakfast and coffee and all that stuff. So your resources, you tend to spend them just with like trips to town, and then it's easy to budget that way. So I don't know. I would encourage people, like if you feel like the times are unsettling, if you feel like the times are unsettling, definitely take steps to put some distance between you and the system, and also too, like the grid. Like one of the things that I'm going to talk about in one of my upcoming videos is the new battery there, and that's the Blue Eddy, the AC 200P. That battery is awesome. It's a 2 kilowatt hour battery. Right now I'm pulling in 527 watts of solar into it. So it's 2,000 watt hour battery. I can charge it up in 4 hours with solar, 100%. And it pushes everything that I have and then some. And they're saying like there's energy shortage. Last time I checked, the sun comes out on a consistent basis pretty much every day if you're not like, in one of the parts of the world that just is cloudy all the time. So you can get yourself a battery bank and solar panels and be fine and not be subjected to like these high energy costs. Because I remember when I was in Denver, and before I left Denver, I had a little house downtown. It was 800 square feet, and it was an old house. It was from the 1880s, so it was a cool old little bungalow, and it wasn't the most energy efficient. But I would only turn the energy on when I was there, and then I would leave Monday through Friday and go camping, and then come back on Saturday and Sunday and run the sign business that I had that was doing weekend signage for real estate developments. And I would come in town, just those 2 days a week, or 2 days, yeah, 2 days a week. And so roughly 8 to 10 days per month. And my bill was still like $150 a month for energy. And I'm like, how? Like, is it just because the house is there and you're hooked up to it? Like, is that why it's $150 a month? And then it would be like $400 in the summertime. It was crazy. And I haven't had an energy bill for 7 years. And so, I just think that it's there's the technology is getting way better. And then with like Starlink, for internet, I just found out I can get Starlink out here at the ranch. And so once the address gets, it's funny, the address for this place isn't filed right. So if I get mail sent here, it goes to the wrong address. So can't use the mailing address here, but hopefully the post office get that corrected soon. Once the mailing address is corrected, I can order Starlink out here, have blazing fast internet. I can drill a well, have my water, I've got my own land to do whatever I want. There's no prying eyes. And it's kind of like my own little world. So I don't know. I would like to I'd like to encourage everybody to get out there. And then like, water purification systems. If you're up in areas where you have fresh water that you can purify, I mean, there are water purifiers now. You can jam on them. You can use them for like 20,000 liters. Can't remember. It's like 4,000 gallons or 4,500 gallons, something like that. And I think about how many gallons of water I use a week. I use maybe 15, 20 gallons of water a week, maybe. So like one of those $100 water purifiers would last me for how many years, So it's not as expensive as it used to be. And you don't have to have a massive amount of resources to set up an infrastructure for you to operate out here. You basically can pick up one of these solar stations that's portable, get a couple of panels, invest a maximum of like, $1,000, $2,000 into your energy setup, and you're good for years, like literally years. Because these batteries now, the technology on them has gone from to where the life cycles used to be less than 500. Now the life cycles are 3,500 on them. So what that means is you can charge up to 100%, 3,500 times before the battery will degrade, and then you can charge it up to 80%. And then you can charge it up 3,500 times to 80%, and then down to 60%. You keep going like that. So you can have these batteries forever. So I don't know, just the technology is there. And I just feel like the reason why costs continue to go up is because these other industries that were so reliant on these fixed costs that, like, cable companies kept jacking up the rate, but the service kept getting crappier, and same with their internet. Well, yeah, they're dying on a vine, like their infrastructure's falling apart. And I feel like that's the way it is for a lot of these energy companies too. It's like you look at like the rolling energy or shortages in California and now in Texas, and you're like, you got to be kidding me. And in the United States in 2021, we got this shit happening. It's like, where was our government this whole time in the last 30 years? Oh, it's like, oh yeah, they were selling out the middle class to China, and down the river. It's just like, I'm just irate at both sides. People say like, oh, are you Republican or Democrat? I'm like, I'm neither. Trust me. Both sides can kiss my ass because it's just, don't get me going. So anyway, all right, Christy Hazley, what's up in Nebraska? Oh, hey, I'm from Kansas. All right, let's see what else have we got on here. So let's see what else have we got. Hey, Brian, do you consume cannabis products time to time? Yeah, then most definitely. I love cannabis. I'm not a big drinker, though, because I feel like, I don't know, drinking out here, I had somebody email me about that. They're like, I don't really see you drinking on much. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's not something that fits in with living this way. Because like you get up in the morning, you got to start working. And especially if you want to get stuff done, like, you want to get stuff going early and get cranking. And waking up with a hangover out here just doesn't fit. And so I think also too, just kind of drinking by yourself is kind of a loser move. I mean, yeah, every once in a while is fine, but not every night. So I think that just for me, I like cannabis products. I'm more of like, I like dabs because if you can get the ones that are made without butane, it's just pure water and pressure. And so they're like the most pure form of it, but they're really strong. So you got to take them in small doses. So, but yeah. Hey, another thing too. So a lot of people, one thing I want to talk about, the mindset of when you think about making the change to come out here, because like when I started thinking about it, all the stuff that I started thinking about, a lot of this stuff was off base because I was thinking about it in the context of being in the corporate world or being in a house or like in a city. And it's just all different out here. So what I would recommend is when you go out camping, try to keep track of your costs when you're camping and then build your budget off of that. You can base like you can kind of project a budget based off that. Don't base it off of like, oh, I still have these housing expenses in Denver or wherever you're living. And, I still have my gym pass and all those things. You're going to get rid of all that stuff when you hit the road. And also too, I'd recommend getting rid of all your possessions. Don't do like I did and get a storage unit, because I had a storage unit for like a year and a half. I ended up spending like $1,500 on a storage unit and just had a bunch of stuff in there that I just never used again. So that's let's see what's going on. Somebody's asking about something. Oh, sorry, I was looking at this. See, somebody's asking about mushrooms. Yeah, I like mushrooms too. I like the golden teacher mushrooms, and then the oh gosh, what are those? The Caribbean, is it Caribbean coast? So there's different species of mushroom that you can get, and they actually have a different feel to you, to a different effect. The golden teacher are great for like being out in nature, and it's like all about love and like harmony and like really kind of if your perspective is off, you could take a little bit of those and get your perspective realigned, and then it makes everything look really cool too. There were Treasure Coast is the other one. Treasure Coast is so much fun. It's like that one, you just high five your friends the whole time. It's like everything's a good time. So, but I like mushrooms because like I think that they're good in certain settings, and they're also great for any sort of like emotional distress or trauma. Because a lot of stuff that I went through when I was addicted to those benzodiazepines, that's because of all the crap that I was putting up with in the corporate world, like crazy ass bosses and like crazy ex-employers that were trying to sue me for stuff, and they were like on drugs and everything. So it was, going through all that, it was crazy. And then like, one of the things that was toughest for me to deal with, it's like my whole identity was wrapped up in my career, because up to that point, like girls, definitely have it tough when it comes to like the image, like body image. Like people are so focused on looks for women. For men, it's your career. It's like, what do you do for work? And that's why it's really tough when these recessions hit for men and you see men drinking lots. It's like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Because like our society tells us that our whole net worth is based upon how we make a living, or how we how we can basically provide for a family. And if people met me when I was going through my tough stuff, they would never think I could get to where I'm at now, ever. And so, and I probably wouldn't think it either. But it's like, it's weird how people judge people on those things. I don't know. And so like when the recessions hit like this, it's really hard for men, because they start thinking like, okay, my net worth is, society judges me based on what I can do for a living, and there's no options out there right now. So what am I supposed to do? So, oh, hey, what's up, Hannah? I know. I don't know. I tried to respond to you guys on Baron Elsa's chat. I don't know if that came through or not, because I didn't see it come through. So anyway, so let's see here. It's all part of the Great Deception. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah. So let's see. What else have we got here? Those were the days. Let's see from the pain mech. Yeah, let me show this real quick. So SPAC Master Shop, as you were saying, stay away from the pain medication. Yeah, and that stuff is gnarly. That's just as bad. Like the benzodiazepines that I was on were really gnarly. And it took me like 6 months to get off of those. And then I still had withdrawals up to a year after that. I didn't tell anybody, but I'd have withdrawals. I wake up every morning and throw up. And then it was like your nerves were just shot. And it's just like, it's all big pharma. And it's like, what's big pharma doing right now? They're trying to control the narrative again. It's just like, I'm tired of that. It's like, y'all can just deal with that. And I'm going to be over here and actually living my life the way that I want to, and not dealing with this and not being under the thumb of anybody. Cause I just can't, like, it makes me irate. Like I've had, people that I've known in the past and associated with in the past, when they start trying to tell me what to do with my life, I just disassociate with people like that. It's the same thing with like the government or big pharma or big business. It's like, look, I've got my own life covered. I don't need, Dr. Fauci telling me if I can have Christmas or not. Like, that guy can kiss my ass. I don't care what he thinks. So anyway, I kind of go off on that stuff. But all right, so here's update on Sierra for those that are just now tuning in. What's up, Pumpkin? What are you doing, no Pumpkin? She's doing great. We have not started chemo yet. I want one more week with her feeling better. So because I know she's not going to feel well. The doctor said, look, like after they give it to her, she'll have about 4 days where she's not feeling good. She'll be thrown up. She'll have the runs, but then after that, she'll feel good. And then 3 weeks later, we'll go in for another one. So it'll be like that every 3 weeks. And I don't know how long the rounds go, because there's like, they call them like a round of chemo. So it's like a set number that we will do. But it's going to be done out of Flagstaff. If we do go to Colorado for winter camping, what we'll probably do is see if we can either go to Denver to get the chemo administered from the Wheat Ridge place where she had her surgery, and those doctors over there are awesome, or we may just roll back to Flagstaff and do that, and then come to the camper, let her recover, and then go back out winter camp again. So we'll see. So we'll see what happens. But she's doing great, and she's been having fun, running around like crazy every day. We get up in the morning. What we'll do first is we'll go out to the road over here. We'll go left. She likes to get onto these trees and like potty down over there. They're like a little ways down. Then she'll come running back up the road here, and we'll go up over the ridge and come back over that way, walk all the way around the property over there, and then come back up the rock garden and then back up to the ridge this way. So it takes us about 30 minutes to do the whole walk in the morning. And the whole time she's just running around having fun. And she's back to herself where she'll like run up to stuff and like get real happy and like jump around like crazy all the time, as opposed to just being kind of lethargic. So it's really nice to see her like this. So all right, let's see here. Let's see. 10 months cancer-free. That's great. Let me put this up here. I want to put that up. Claudia Clark. You're 10 months cancer-free. That is fantastic. Congratulations. I thought that I was going to be dealing with cancer after I had that, that tumor was identified and got that removed in the middle part of my large intestine. But luckily, I'm 100% fine. I just have to go in for checkups all the time to make sure it's all good. So, all right, Christina, Dr. Fauci, the kiss mask. Yeah, I mean, like another example of somebody who misled people in the beginning, said like masks weren't needed, and then came back and changed the story, and then the constant flipping. And then it's like these people wonder why we question what they say. It's like, put it together. It's like when Rogan confronted CNN, that Dr. Sanjay Gupta guy or whatever his name is, and was like, don't you understand why this is a problem? You're a news organization. And if you lie about somebody taking a medication, about a podcaster taking a medication when he's sick, what else are you lying about? And why would people believe you? And it's like, exactly. It's like I soured. So I used to register as a conservative. This is a long time ago, but I used to register as a conservative. And then I caught Fox News and all these lies. And I'm like, wait a minute, they're lying to me just the way CNN would lie to me. And I was like, this is bullshit, and then I looked at a lot of this liberal media. I'm like, they're lying too. There's catering. I'm like, there's no more news anymore. It's all just like, well, there's some news. If you go to like Glenn Greenwald, he's good. I think Matt Taibbi's good. I like Jimmy Dore. He kind of rah-rahs up the troops. Russell Brand actually is amazing right now. I don't know if y'all have been listening to Russell Brand, but that guy for how intoxicated he was back in the 90s and the early 2000s and like kind of way out there. It's amazing how interesting he has become. And so, oh yeah, Hannah, Brett Weinstein's. Yeah, I used to support them on Patreon. I don't do any Patreon support right now, just because like with Sierra's bills, I kind of have that's on pause for a moment. But I do want to go back and support Heather and then Brett, and then also Jimmy Dore again, and some other people on Patreon, because I think it's important to give to them. Like Heather Heyman and Brett Weinstein, the Dark Horse podcast, they actually got completely demonetized on YouTube, completely demonetized for talking about ivermectin. And so that's one of the things that, like, I got to be careful saying it too. If I even talk about it, I'm sure I could probably get dinged. And it's just like, it's stupid to have to self-censor like that. It drives me nuts. But that's where, like, I need to get back on and focus more on Patreon. It's just weird. Like sometimes that platform, I had some weird people that joined recently, and it kind of turned me off on it, but I got it, but they're gone now. So I need to get back on and do it. But it's like, I need to have another platform to where I can say what I want to say. Cause it's like, I don't know. It's just wild. Like I'd love to have it to where we can just talk about off-grid stuff all the time and everything like that. But it's like, I feel like I need to talk about how you can try to get away from the system and how I was able to get away from it. So let me see. I've got to put this up too. It's crazy. So right now, just to let y'all know, anybody that talks about anything on it right here, that's like Greenwald Brand, I had to approve that comment. The one Dave Page, when you were talking about how CNN's garbage, I had to approve that. So like it's amazing how all that stuff is censored on here, but I'm approving all of it so everybody can see it. But it's like, it's weird how that happens. I don't like that. Like that's one of the things that really bothers me about doing this sort of stuff. So hopefully, after all the cards settle and the dust kind of settles and the cards lay where they may, things will ease up and we'll have the stop from this. But like it's so funny. I look at what happened with like that Facebook whistleblower, and it's like that's a total setup. That gal works for them. I guarantee you that. So it's like it's kind of funny to see how like the billionaires want to think they can control us, and it's like, dude, we'll just walk away from your app. We don't have to use that shit. Like it's so funny how they think they're so essential to our lives. It's like we'll be fine without y'all. Like Bezos, we were good before he got here. Same with Musk and and all the rest of them. Like we'll be okay. Like me and Sierra will be camping just fine without him. So it's just it's crazy. But it is interesting how our government, if you look at like what Japan did, Japan paid for like 90% of everybody's pay during that time from the government fund. They said, hey, small business, don't worry about it. Everybody's businesses, don't worry about it. We'll pay for 90% of your employees' salaries in this time. They open back up, economy's back up and running, everything's cool. Okay, here, what did we do? We screwed over the middle class again, which has been happening for 30 years. While that whole time that we've been spending $300 million a day in Afghanistan when we could have been spending it here in the States. And then the government tricks us into thinking that like everybody needs to pay their taxes on time or else things are going to fall by the wayside. Please, you just printed 40% more of the currency in the last year. Like you don't need us. Like this is a game. It's all a game. So it's just crazy, but it's unfortunate to see. I am glad stuff like, the one thing that's positive right now that I did see that came out of this administration, which I do have to give them credit for, is a lot of the stuff in Bears Ears got put back in national monument designation. And that's huge for the Native American people out there because they were instrumental in crafting the original monument to say like, hey, these are all the areas that are important to us. And when it was shrunk, a lot of the areas that we used to work in out there were out of the monument designation. And I can tell you, like, there's some special areas out there that have been put back in the monument designation. And like the tribes out there were satisfied. And the Native Americans have been shit on so much in this country. It's like that was a win for them, and I'm happy for that. So that's about the only like rah good thing that's been happening recently as far as all that stuff goes. So that's where I feel like it's important for all of us as a community and just as citizens, like let's all just step back from that stuff, step back from Facebook, don't use it anymore. Get off Instagram. If Facebook is tied to your business, I totally understand because YouTube's tied to mine, so I get it. But if it's not, get off of it and just weaken their power, and like start to pay cash for everything. Don't put stuff on credit. Take away the power from the banks. I'm actually saving up for a Swiss bank account. So to open a Swiss bank account costs you $150,000. You have to put a deposit in there for that. But nobody can ever come and ask for your banking information. No government, no nothing. It's against their laws to give out any information on anybody who has a bank account in their country. So it's like I want to save up and go into something like that because I don't trust the banks here. Like I see what's happening. It's like since I was a kid until now, so many things have been consolidated. There used to be banks all over the place, like private banks everywhere. They've all been consolidated into like 6 main banks. Telecommunications. There used to be like 20 telecommunications companies. There's like what, 3 now? Like that's not right. It's like everything's being consolidated into one. And I'm just like, you know what? You can have your one. I'm just going to go out here and do my own stuff and just stay away from that. So it's, I can tell you that minimizing everything in my life, simplifying everything has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's easy to operate like this once you get your systems dialed in and once you figure out how to operate. And then you just don't have the worries that you would have like in the corporate environment and also in the structured, controlled environments that they have out there. So I think that what it is like a lot of this right now is forcing people that maybe have a few different viewpoints but agree on a lot of stuff to really come together, because I think what we're both seeing right now is a lot of people are like, yeah, Democrats, Republicans, they're both the same. So what's the point of like attaching yourself to one of those parties when we know the outcome? It's like we know the outcome of what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing that's happened for the last 30 years, 40 years. Nothing's going to change. They've been talking about fixing the inner city since I was a kid. Nothing has happened. Nothing. Then like the war on drugs. I mean, come on, are you serious? Nothing's happening there. All they do is incarcerate people. They don't provide any sort of, rehab or anything like that. It's interesting because I actually know a lot about that. I wasn't incarcerated when I had my drug addiction, but like going through rehab and all that stuff and like trying to put your life back together, the system is set up to keep you down. And I can tell you that with a fact. It doesn't matter. Like I think that now that's class warfare. I think that there used to be race warfare. Now I think it's definitely class warfare. It's just like they can't get enough of our money. There's like $8 billion in their bank account. Not enough. They got to have 10 billion. You know, it's like, it's never enough. It's like this greed is so much. And that's where I'm like, cool, I'm just going to take away the option of them trying to extract money out of me, you know? And that's where it's like, I've pushed it as far as I can to be as far off grid. I mean, I didn't have a cell phone for 3.5 years, you know, because I wanted to push it as far as I can to see how far can you go without their systems to operate and still be effective, you know? So I don't know. Let's see. I'm missing some comments here. I want to go back up here and read this. It's so good. Oh, cool. It's like, all right, on. Everybody's agreeing. All right, cool. Well, that's good. And I you know, it's interesting. I talk with a lot of YouTubers offline, and we talk about stuff. We're all on the same page. Like, hey, we all want to live free. The stuff that's going on is crazy right now. We're all flying under the radar as far as not saying crazy stuff because, you know, we don't want to get demonetized or anything like that. Plus too, it's like spreading goodwill with like the camping videos and not having it route with political message or anything like that. People don't want to be, you know, have politics or social issues in every single thing that they watch. I don't. I mean, I get so frustrated that it's like every time like I tune in to watch a football game or something like that, they want to talk about a social issue or a police issue or a political issue. And I'm like, can I just watch somebody throw a football? Can you say like, yeah, that guy ran 40 yards and it's a touchdown? I'm like, I don't have to hear your opinion. Like, you know, it's like, it's crazy. I don't know why these news organizations or sport, especially the sportscasters, it's like, dude, you're men and women, you're there to call the game. You're not there to like tell us what to think. Like, keep it on the DL. And I know ESPN is owned by Disney, so there in and of itself has a lot of like conflicts because it seems like Disney wants to control everything these days, and Disney just sucks in my opinion. But I don't know. It's just these companies are doing it to themselves. They're forcing it to where everyone's looking for alternative sources for news, for entertainment, for all that stuff. You know, that's why you see all these cable companies dying on a vine and legacy media dying on a vine. And I think the reason why they're trying to like control the narrative and trying to silence these other channels is because they're trying to silence other channels because those channels are kicking their ass in traffic. You know, it was interesting during the election. They were talking about, oh, Biden's the most popular president in U.S. history and all that stuff. My channel was outperforming his 5-1. I was looking at his channel during that time, and they were uploading stuff like, and then they just stopped uploading because like everybody was down liking it, and like the algorithms were getting, you know, messed up on their stuff. And I was looking at it, I'm like, I'll post up a camping video. I'll have like 10 times the traffic than one of your, you know, speeches or one of your town hall meetings that you say is like so popular. It's like, it's all a scam. Like, it's all a scam. Like, this is crazy. So, all right, let's see what else have we got here. Oh, another thing too is that I've been invested in Bitcoin. I don't know if you all have seen Bitcoin lately, but it's been going off. So really pleased about that. I did really well this past month on Bitcoin. I'm just going to keep throwing money into Bitcoin with it because it doesn't seem like it's going away. There's some Central American companies now that have adopted it as an actual like legitimate currency. And I like that because the government can't get into it and see how I'm spending my money. So, I mean, there's stuff about how like there's a possibility that they could pass a deal in the new infrastructure bill that if any, you know, bank account has a $600 or more transaction, that it flags the IRS for them to look at it. Right now, that's at $10,000. So if you get a $10,000 activity in one transaction, whether it's a deposit or a withdrawal, anything $10,000 or above, the IRS is flagged, and then they look at it and see like, what is this? Does it look legitimate? Does it look like it's money laundering? And then they go from there. Going down to 600, it's crazy. I mean, like my battery costs $1,700. So what are they going to do? Flag that? You know, it's like the amount of control that they want. And it's like, I'm sorry, but I wasn't born to be like an ATM machine for a bunch of failed policies. And for you to send the money to the military industrial complex or to these banks or to these asshole billionaires that literally look at me like a peon. I mean, Bezos has said that with Amazon, was it Amazon? Oh no, the Amazon workers. No, let's see, what was it? I can't remember what it was, but one of the people was Amazon. Were basically just saying those people don't need breaks. Like we need to figure out how we can have more 10-hour shift and not have breaks. And like it's just completely dehumanizing everybody. And then like after a certain number of years, they force them out the door because they're like, well, that person's going to expect a raise now. It's like, I'm sorry, you're a billionaire, billion B. Like that's you have if you get to that point, in my opinion, you better start doing a bunch of nice stuff for society or pitchforks are going to start coming out. And that's where I'm at. It's like, I'm ready for that to take place and have the powers that be realize they have no power unless we give it to them. You know what I mean? So it's just it's sad. When I got out of college, I had marginal GPA and I had 6 job offers. My cousins were coming out of college a couple years ago with the most insane grades and all that stuff. They didn't have one offer, not one. Like things are screwed, and it's like the middle class is completely destroyed. And then, I mean, what is everybody going to do in the future? Be an influencer? No. Is everybody going to be working for Amazon? No. It's like, what are people going to do? I don't get it. Because if I had children, I'd be really concerned about the future for them. Number one, with all the weird shit going on in school these days. But number two, what's the job market look like for them when they get out there? Like how's that going to look? And so it's just, man, what I want to do is I want to get this place set up so like my family, my brothers and his kids and stuff can come here and just chill. Like, hey, we got a place in the American Southwest where we can go and hang out. And there's like no corporate influence. There's no nothing. It's like, yeah, that's what I want. Cause I'm not going to have kids and I'm not going to have a family because I would worry too much about their future and it would probably turn me into a total freak show. I'd probably be just a worry wart. So anyway, it's sad how money has literally, it's just all about profit these days. And, I think about when I was going through my stuff with the benzodiazepines and the doctors were trying to keep me on it, which that's what was fucked up. Like, I was like, I had this doctor, she's like, you don't need to get off this stuff. You can just stay on the stuff. We'll lower the dose a little bit. I've had a bunch of clients that have been on this for 15 or 20 years. I'm thinking, this stuff isn't designed for people to be on it for 15 to 20 years. It changes it rewires your brain. I can feel it rewiring my brain. It was Xanax and Klonopin. And I was like, I go, no, I said, no, I'm going to get off this. I said, I don't think it's, and up to this point, it was a cordial conversation. And I said, no, I'm going to get off this stuff. It's just, I'm not myself and I want my life back, cause I didn't care about anything. Like I was an emotional zombie. Didn't have any feeling either way, good or bad. And so, I mean, it helps with stress, but boy, it takes away everything else too. And I told her, I said, no, I'm going to get off this stuff. And the look on her face changed, like this power trip thing. And she goes, you'll never be able to get off that. And I go, bitch, watch me. And she goes, what? And I said, don't ever talk to me like that. And I said, you just said that to the most stubborn person you ever met. I said, I'm kicking this stuff and I could care less what you think. You're the one that made me sick by feeding me this crap all the time. And so I left there and I did have a few mishaps after that. Like, I'd go to a doctor and they'd say, how are you doing? And I'm stressing out like crazy. And your heart rate's real high and all that stuff. And they give me like a small dose of Xanax or something like that. But then I would take one and then I'd flush the rest. I'm like, I can't take this stuff. I just gotta stick it out. And so that's what I did. I just stuck it out. And finally one day I just started feeling better. But I can tell you that is the worst feeling I've ever had in my life was going through those withdrawals. Cause it felt like every cell in my body was splitting apart. That's what it felt like. It was so much pain all over. And then you don't have any of your natural hormones to combat stress like you normally do in your body. Cause the medication has been working in lieu of that. So your body didn't produce anymore. So like the smallest thing will just stress you out like crazy. You can't sleep at all or anything like that. And so, it's like, I'm so glad to be past that. Cause like, I've never had anything control me like that. Ever, never anything. I mean, I've never had a problem with alcohol or any marijuana, anything like that. Like I can stop it in any seconds, no problem. And I don't think about it or anything like that. Those benzodiazepines, those things are once they get their hooks in you, it's like they say that there's only like a 6% success rate of people that have been on them for a long extended period of time to get off them and stay off them. And I'm part of that 6%, so I'm pretty proud of that. But it's from the fact that I was like, I want my life back, man. Like I just remember sitting there, I'm like, what happened? Like, what, like I was like 230 pounds. I never went outside. I went from surfing every single morning to like never surfing at all. My friends, I became a recluse. I just stayed in my apartment nonstop and it was crazy. So it's just nuts. So I just tell people like, those drugs and stuff like that, like be real careful, especially right now. I know there's probably doctors wanting to prescribe a bunch of drugs like that and just be real careful, if they want to give them to you. So anyway, well, I'm going to log off here. We got a football game coming up and then I want to get some lunch going, but just want to bring up to speed with how Sierra's doing. Like I said, she's doing great. She's doing she's sleeping right now. So she's got in her dream, she's probably running around. You running, sweetie? You running, little pumpkin? But she's doing great. And like I said, we're gonna start up chemo this week. So I just wanted to have one more week of her feeling good. So I put it off again. But and then I'll keep everybody updated with my truck. Who knows what's gonna happen with that? I'd like to get a vehicle in the meantime. And that's why I was thinking about getting a 4-wheeler, that's street legal. That way I could at least roll to town and get supplies and roll around here and do stuff and not have to rent a car every week. Because the car rental every week is like $700 each week for like an economy one. So I can't do that for another 2 months. That's just a waste of money. So, all right, we're gonna log off here, and just want to thanks everybody for tuning in, and also thanks everybody for the well wishes for Sierra. I mean, I get on the comments and I see them, and this past week I my computer was down, and also my router, I dropped it and it broke. So I got my new one on Friday, and I'm back up and running again. So I still need to get caught up with comments on and also emails. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and also for the well wishes for Sierra. And I've got my big tent here, and I'm thinking about this week. There is I think it's Tuesday night. They're supposed to be real pleasant, like not very loud or not very high winds, stuff like that. So I think we'll do like an evening in the big tent and get that on film, and then we can get some good tent footage for y'all before the season starts. So, all right, thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm sorry I kind of was just paying attention and talking here, and I wasn't seeing too much comments, so I might have missed a lot of people. But definitely stick up for your independence, stick up for your freedoms. No one's here to tell you what to do. I'm a huge believer in personal rights, and I think everybody has the freedom to make their own decisions and all that stuff. And if a company or a bank or a pharmaceutical company or something like that is trying to control you, just tell them to kiss your ass and walk away. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for all the support. I love you all very much. And I'll catch you on the next live stream. All right. See you later.